Alexandra Eala didn't earn her spot in the 2026 Stuttgart main draw. She inherited it, and the entire WTA Tour is watching to see what she does with it. Qinwen Zheng, the Paris Olympic gold medalist, pulled out injured. Eala moved up from qualifier, and yet, when Eala's name appeared on the Porsche Arena draw sheet, the reaction from Stuttgart to Manila wasn't relief. It was coronation. That gap between how the world sees Alexandra Eala and what the 2026 results actually say is the most important story in women's tennis right now. On April 10th, 2026, Stuttgart Open officials confirmed that Alexandra Eala had moved into the main draw of the 48th Porsche Tennis Grand Prix, a direct replacement for Qinwen Zheng. 48 hours later, the official draw dropped. Eala's first-round opponent, Leylah Fernandez, ranked 25th in the world, 5 WTA titles, former US Open finalist, and by an extraordinary coincidence, also a left-handed Filipino-Canadian who carries the flag of the Filipino diaspora on a different passport. Tournament director Marcus Guntart has been clear about this. Eala's inclusion elevates the event's global profile. Those aren't polite words. They're financial calculations dressed in diplomatic language. Because what Marcus Guntart and the Porsche Arena already know, what Sandra Reichel in Linz learned at near catastrophic cost, is that Alexandra Eala doesn't just play tennis tournaments, Alexandra Eala transforms them. And that's where things get complicated. In Germany, the __quote_0___ isn't a fan narrative anymore. It's a documented commercial phenomenon. In Dubai, earlier in 2026, ticket sales surged 48% specifically during Eala's matches. Not during the tournament, during Eala's matches. At the Miami Open, her branded merchandise outsold the combined total of every other player in the field. At a recent major event, a crowd of 73,000 showed up, and a significant portion of them there specifically to watch what analysts called Eala's tenacity. Paul Annacone, the renowned coach connected to Roger Federer himself, has publicly praised Eala's hand-eye coordination and her ability to redirect power with exceptional efficiency. And Tony Nadal, mentor at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, where Eala still trains even after graduating in 2023, remains a constant presence on her practice courts. The team around Alexandra Eala, Joan Bosch as tennis coach, Sandro Villain traveling with her through Linz and Stuttgart, Luke Bauza handling physical conditioning. That's not the setup of a wildcard hopeful. That's the setup of a future champion. But the ranking doesn't lie.
I'm really happy with how they've welcomed me and welcomed the Filipinos. There are a lot of them.
Alexandra Eala walks into the Porsche Arena ranked approximately 45th in the world. 12 months ago, she stood at a career high of 29. That gap, 16 ranking positions, represents one of the sharpest reversals of any rising player on the 2026 WTA Tour. Here's why. At the 2025 Miami Open, Eala arrived as a wild card ranked 140th in the world. She then went out and dismantled Jelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and Iga Swiatek, the world number 2, on her way to the semifinals. That run generated 390 ranking points. In 2026, she exited Miami in the round of 16, losing to Karolina Muchova 0-6, 2-6. Those 390 points were gone. The ranking collapsed. The __quote_2___ is arriving in Stuttgart on a rebound mission. And what happened in Linz just 3 days earlier makes that mission feel urgently unfinished. At the Linz Open, Eala won her first clay court match of 2026, a clean 6-4, 6-3 defeat of Julia Grabber in front of a crowd of Filipino fans who had traveled to Austria just to be there. The win was composed, efficient, and looked exactly like the player Tony Nadal has been building in Mallorca. Then came Jelena Ostapenko in the round of 16. Eala led 4-2 in the first set, then 5-1 in the second, 5-1, 3 games from victory over a player she'd already beaten at Miami, 2025, and then so the set slipped, the match slipped. Final score, 4-6, 5-7. What happened in those final moments is the exact question every scout, every coach, and every opponent in Stuttgart is now studying. Because Eala possesses what analysts call a mental ceiling, higher than most veterans on tour. But that ceiling had a crack in Linz. And Leylah Fernandez, who has closed out tighter moments than a 5-1 second set lead, already knows it. The Eala Fernandez first-round match has been called a battle of heritage, and that framing is earned. Both are left-handed. Both carry enormous support from the Filipino community worldwide. Both have beaten top 10 players on clay. And both understand with complete clarity what winning this match means beyond ranking points. Fernandez won the Japan Women's Open in October 2025. She reached a career-best ranking of 13 in 2022. She's won at the WTA 500 and WTA 1000 levels that Eala is still climbing toward. The experience gap between these two is real, and on indoor clay at the Porsche Arena, where the ball moves faster in the controlled environment, that experience translates directly into points. Win this match, and Eala is projected to face 5th seed Jasmine Paolini in the second round. The same Paolini she beat 6-1, 7-6 in Dubai. A potential quarterfinal against top seed Elena Rybakina follows after that. The road to the Stuttgart final, where Iga Swiatek or Coco Gauff likely waits, runs straight through some of the most elite players in women's tennis, and that's when the story takes its most unexpected turn. 2 weeks before Stuttgart, the Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open was reportedly staring at losses that could threaten the tournament's future. Entire stadium sections sat empty. Sponsors were threatening to pull millions in commitments. The trigger? Uncertainty over whether Alexandra Eala would receive a wild card. The ultimatum delivered to tournament organizers was documented and direct: grant entry or prepare for financial disaster. The WTA eventually facilitated her inclusion. Critics inside the organization accused the governing body of bending its own ranking rules to accommodate a player based on popularity rather than merit. Defenders called Eala a quote 5 and argued the sport has to evolve, that cultural impact and global attention are valid metrics for tournament inclusion. That debate hasn't been settled, and it's now been joined by a second, quieter controversy. Professional psychologists have raised concerns about the conduct of Eala's sports psychologists during matches, specifically around ethics in competitive settings. The details are sparse, but the pattern is clear. As the Eala Effect grows larger, so does the scrutiny around every element of her world: the coaching calls, the psychological support, the wildcard justifications. The Filipino fans already waiting at the Porsche Arena are real. The 48% ticket surge in Dubai is real. The queen-like arrival is real. And so is the ranking sitting at 45, the 5-1 lead that disappeared in Linz, and the institutional machinery that needed a financial ultimatum just to get Eala on the court. Alexandra Eala steps onto the indoor clay of the Porsche Arena, carrying something that almost no player ranked 45th in the world has ever carried: the economic survival of the tournaments she enters, the unified identity of a diaspora spread across an entire continent, and the very specific, very pressing need to prove that the Eala Effect is built on elite professional performance, not just a commercial mythology that's grown larger than the results. The Stuttgart champion walks away with 188,438,500 ranking points and a Porsche 911 Carrera S Cabriolet. For Eala, none of those are the real prize. The real prize is the answer to the question that Linz left dangerously open. When Alexandra Eala leads 5-1 in the second set on the clay of the Porsche Arena, and the moment comes to close it, will she